Now, I really like the new Mini John Cooper Works, but have you ever wondered what would happen if Mini engineers took off their tie and undid their top button? You know, feed them a few too many E-number riddled blue Smarties? What if the JCW was altogether a bit more feral? This is the Mini John Cooper Works Challenge, and it is a prime example of the brand putting its money where its mouth is. You see, they run the Mini Challenge series where people can take a souped up Mini JCW around a track and race in one of the most competitive series in the UK, but this is where it all trickles back to the road. This car shares more than just its name with that series. The JCW was always an aggressive looking hot hatch, but the Challenge steps it up just a little bit more. Look in the details and you'll find slightly more aggressive aero tweaks to the spoiler, and a whole new rear diffuser, and on the chin of the car you'll find canard-like protrusions. Team Dynamics add lightweight alloy wheels at each corner that fill the arches as the car squats down and has a really strong stance for a small car. Don't let the puppy dog eyes of this Mini fool you, it's quite the tiny terror. The interior of this car is much the same as in any new Mini, and by that I mean the fit and finish is really good. You'll find the chunky JCW wheel pointing at your chest. There's plenty of glossy plastics and finishes, and generally the car feels pretty solid. But what you'll also notice is that there are various things missing, such as the navigation, and that brings us back to the car's performance. Under the bonnet you'll find the same 2-litre turbocharged engine as in the JCW, and that means 228 brake horsepower and 320 Nm of torque. And whilst you might be somewhat disappointed that that hasn't been fettled, trust me on this, the rest of the car has had a thorough going over. Standing as arguably one of the most extreme chassis Mini has ever produced for the road, this car features totally adjustable Nitron suspension all around. It means that you can tailor the car to your exacting specifications for road and track. The ride height can be adjusted, the dampers can be adjusted, even the camber of the wheels can be adjusted. You'll also find a Quaife limited slip differential, some serious kit under there, as well as new drilled ventilated disc brakes. Don't get me wrong, this car is a truly focused car and arguably shares more in common with the Challenge race car than it does its JCW donor car. Wrapping themselves around those new alloy wheels is a set of very sticky Michelin Pilot Supersport Cup 2 tyres, and anybody who's into their hot hatchbacks knows that right now those Michelin tyres are the benchmark. And the icing on the cake for this package is that the boys from Evo helped fettle some of the suspension settings, and they like their cars a lot. The net result of all of these tweaks and changes is a car that is absolutely unrelenting to its commitment through a corner. You can really tell what's going on beneath you. There's a lot of communication from the front wheels through to the steering wheel. The driver can definitely place the car very, very accurately. But most impressively is the front end grip. You can throw it in at silly speeds and it just grips and grips and grips. I purposely tried to initiate some understeer, and you really have to be driving like an absolute hooligan before the car starts to unstick itself. The beauty of this setup as well is that if you trail the brakes into a corner, you can feel the back go light, and it's been tuned for more oversteer setup than understeer. It is such a driver's car as you pitch it in with that very precise steering and use that torque to slingshot you out of the corner and charge through this 6-speed manual transmission. No auto option here. This car is for the drivers. That differential does a really good job. You can really apply the power on the exit of a corner. I mean, there's still just a whiff of torque steer, but generally speaking, it does a damn fine job to put that power down. Now, here in Europe, there are certain laws that manufacturers have to abide by in regards to how noisy and loud a car can be. You can't just have a button on the dashboard that makes everything so loud that it goes above a certain number of decibels. But that hasn't put Mini off, because they've been a bit ingenuitive. You see, they give every one of these cars one of these doodahs, and it's basically a Bluetooth switch that opens a valve in the exhaust that ends up breaching said regulations. And because it's not physically connected, it means the car's still type approved for the road as opposed to being a pure track car. All Mini do say is, you know, under absolutely no circumstances should you press this little gadget whilst you're out and about on the road. Not at all. Just don't do it. Don't Don't push that button. This car is a little monster. It just eats challenging B roads for breakfast, and it's so enjoyable to squeeze the performance out of it. It's not necessarily about the raw power of the car, it's how focused it is through the bends. That front end of this car, I keep saying it, is just incredible. An engaging, emotive, raw feel to this car. And hats off to Mini for having the guts to produce it, because lots of manufacturers talk about this. Lots of manufacturers produce a concept car talking about their racing heritage. But here it is. This is what filters down. This is what you get as a customer. Now, there's only 50 of these cars being produced, and at this moment in time, there's only 2 left. And whilst expensive at £32,000, for a car that does all of this, and you can fit children in the back, and it's got a decent sized boot still, I'd pick up the phone before you miss your chance to own one of the finest hot hatchbacks of a generation.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for all of the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For breaking news and written reviews, visit www.insidelane.co.uk.